Let's take a look at a couple of fight previews. We're going to be quick or quick for me on these ones because we're going to revisit each of these next week. But it is Calgary, July 28th, the last UFC on Fox. It'll be cool to see my friend Steve Becker and John Anik are coming to see my show. And I'm doing a show on July 27th in Calgary. And I will have a special guest. I haven't confirmed him or her yet, but I have a couple good ones in mind, and I've started doing it. And there's a bunch of fighters and coaches and people that are coming, so please come and check it out. And I can't wait. But Alvarez versus Poirier. They will not be at my show because they will have just weighed in and they will be eating. Although you never know. Eddie, he's such a veteran. I'll invite him for sure. And Mark Henry. He's such a veteran. I mean, a lot of these guys go out the night before and watch a movie or do something to kind of take their mind off it. So, Eddie, you're invited. Your whole team, Mark and whoever's coming with you. Although you got like 30 people at some of your fights. So I can't put you all on the list, but I can try to find, 6 or 8 if you want to come. Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Porier. You saw the first fight. How did it end? If you saw it or you've heard about it, there was a controversial illegal shot. I think it was Herb. And Herb, who was there and understands the game on a high level and has fought himself. I don't know if people realize that. Herb's had quite a number of MMA fights. Oh, shit, I'm out of coffee. Herb felt that it was not intentional. And Eddie was like, I was just trying to find my way through the fight. And I really like the way he put that. Anyone who's fought or kind of, as you understand different aspects of it by studying it up closely or get to know people and work, really spend time with them in ways that they will trust you to talk off camera and stuff, you see that it is something you kind of work through. And there are times where you're working through your own emotions. Again, if you would be so kind to check out Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. It's an aspect of what we talked about, trying to work your way through it, work your way through your own emotional trip, work your way through the breathing and the seeing and the feeling and the pain and the fear and the pressure and the flow when you have it and then when you don't and, and the injuries and stuff. You work your way through this thing when you're a veteran like that. And he was trying to do that and the fight was stopped. Since that fight, they have both looked really phenomenal. They both looked really good against Gaethje. They both had a similar fight against Gaethje. In fact, I don't know if Dustin, I'm sure he watched Eddie's fight, but we had the good fortune of sitting down with Eddie before that fight, day before, maybe Thursday of that fight week, maybe. And he said, look, I have to match that intensity and enthusiasm. And then he didn't say wait for, he sort of more meant create the moment where he can't keep going and then beat him with technique. Eddie also had a few things, a lot of the fake takedown, which got reactions and allowed him to go to the body, which was brilliant. Both were brilliant fights. Dustin, whether he used Eddie's words or approach or strategy or things he learned from it or not, and, Dustin's a smart, interesting, awesome fighter, brilliant fighter. And doesn't have too much of an ego or probably doesn't care what people think of him. So I think he would probably tell the truth if he watched Eddie's fight and said, yes, I learned in that moment something I could use interpreted my way. He'd probably say so. I don't know if he's been asked. Maybe we'll be in Calgary. Maybe we'll ask him. But it's a cool one. Both guys have gotten better. These fights are brilliant for a lot of reasons. I'm doing a sort of an analysis piece for TSN. And, I love doing those now. At first, I was like, I know this is a general audience, but I like to get into the deep weeds and the details. But what I've realized through working with a fantastic, brilliant a producer there he's a good friend too, Jason Palter, and he's a good friend, but I also really like working with him because he doesn't want to find the easy way. He would never use the terms dumbed down. What he's hoping is that you can get to the high level of stuff, and through work that we do all together with the editor and the words and the approach, is find the way to take something complex and make it seem simple. Make it seem like you've heard it a million times. Make it seem like it doesn't require some previous knowledge to get. And that I enjoy. I enjoy that challenge. I've really grown to love doing it. And this is one of those ones. And so we look at it and it's like, well, what do we do in this one? Sometimes we do these, we break these down from the point of view of this punch versus this kick, or this is how you block that thing. But fights like these are very visceral, and they're very much about, you know, your mental state, and they're very much about the mode that you're in, and they're very much about understanding yourself and overcoming things. But they can also be about making him do all of that while you stay calm and just stick to a technically proficient game plan. How this one will go, it's really anybody's guess. They both are very, I mean, they can fight with emotion, but they become really good at being less emotional over the last number of years. They've become very good at just expressing the moments, you know. So I think that's how this one will start out. But they'll both be asked to dig to that emotional state, to that Sap Alvarez 10-10 level state, and I think they can both do it. So, you know, it really is going to come down to, it doesn't matter how you want to break it down. It doesn't matter if you want to talk about leg kicks here versus big power there, the wrestling of Eddie Alvarez versus, you know, Dustin will threaten very big things. In the end, it's going to come down to who's best on the night. And other than that Conor fight, which made Eddie better every day, on most nights he's the best guy in the room. Oh, yeah, but wait. So is Dustin Porier in almost every fight of his, except maybe the Conor one as well. So, I mean, fuck, man, I can't believe we're going to be there. It's going to be good. We'll dig deeper into it. We'll dig deeper into it with some more specific, you know, details about it. And I'm going to watch some of the last few fights. Watching earlier fights sometimes will give you certain bits of information, but these fighters change so much. We got to look back and see, you know, will Eddie... If you're Eddie Alvarez and his guys, you want to switch between striking and grappling, kind of like how Cormier did, and find the holes if they're there. And if you're Poirier's guys, you know, it's like, man, that jab and that low kick from that southpaw stance, we can work that. The jab to the inside with the foot inside, and the low kick from the outside, and low kick to the inside of the leg, and we can just work those weapons. And when he pushes deeper in, give him the left hand. I mean, we can simplify it and try to do that against the wily veteran. But we'll see. We'll dig a lot deeper. Two quick thoughts now. We're going to take a look at Aldo versus Stevens. We can talk about Aldo's right hand, Aldo's low kicks. Aldo, the pressure fighter, who became a push-pull fighter when he fought Frankie, and it made him better forever. And we can talk about Stevens, how when he's free, that one fight against Dennis Bermudez, where he was like, let's stop thinking and start doing. You know, both of those two at their best is going to be a lot of fun. But I think the conversation of this one isn't necessarily about all those things. It's about age, and it's about miles. That's a term we want to use. It's about wear and tear. It's about the body holding up. It's about how you change as you get older, you know. I have a friend, Chris. He just won a national title in Masters Division in purple belt jiu-jitsu. And we were talking about he's going to the Worlds in Vegas, and he said, Chris Bell is his name. And sometimes I train up at Balance MMA. I can only get there once or twice a month, but he's been very kind to invite me to come up there. And I haven't been in a couple of months. I've been in Stratford, Ontario, at Stratford BJJ. If you're over there, come. They're a great group of guys there. But Chris is going to the Worlds in purple belt, and he was talking about, you know, he's in the Masters division, he's in his 30s, and he was talking about 21-year-old purple belts and how they're how hungry and driven and ravenous, and they don't understand risk and danger. And this is just jiu-jitsu. Nobody's getting punched. But he was talking about how tough that is, and that's true. What you're supposed, and how difficult that is to deal with. And they have masters divisions in most sports because you're not supposed, and neither one of these guys are both of similar age and similar experience. So I'm just making a point. And this point may be more relevant in fights with a 19-year-old versus a 33-year-old. But it's because you're different as you get older. You're different physically, you know. And what you're hoping to do is when you can't be as crazy with flying knees and hyper aggressive and smash your way through walls, is get smarter. And if Joe's, a lot of people are seeing this and they're feeling that Jeremy Stephens is, you know, the way that Robbie Lawler broke through to another level in that part of his career as a super experienced guy. Robbie Lawler's still only like 33, 34. And I think that's true of Jeremy Stephens as well. And I think we're making a physical and sort of age comparison. Let me pull up Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy, is there a Y in it? Stephens. He feels similar because he's been around for a long, long time, but he's not he's not all that sort of old, and he has kind of hit a new level. He's also trained with Dominic Cruz for a long time, so he started to understand the varieties of the game. Jeremy Stephens is, thank you for your patience, he is age 32. He is age 32. And that guy took his first fight in 2005. So that's 13 years ago. So he was 19 years old. So he's kind of like a little Robbie Lawler. And when Robbie Lawler came back and it was Koscheck and then all the way through to the title, it was like, holy shit. You know, a short break, a little recalibration, a bit of improvement, and then there was that last run. That's how they feel about Stephens. And then Aldo feels like, you know, and he's only young too. Same thing, he's been around for a while, that they've peaked at different points, you know. So that, we don't know. We don't know. We will see. I'm going to talk to a friend of mine who's a doctor about the body, a doctor and a physiologist about the body and rest and recovery, and he's a big MMA guy. And we're going to look at these two, and I'm going to ask him for insight into what may be different as to what they put their body through. So instead of just saying the things that we often say, it's like, oh, he's got a lot of miles on him, you know, can his body hold up? Well, I mean, I just said that. You can say that. Nothing wrong with that. But maybe, you know, an expert with 30 years of medical experience who's a combat sportsman, maybe he can give me deeper insight. So I'll try to bring that to the table when we take a deeper look at Aldo versus Stephens. Joanna Jedrzejczyk versus Tecia Torres. Let's just leave this as a couple-minute teaser here. And we're just going to set the table. Again, we're going to take a look back. I'm going to take a look back at Joanna's 2 losses against Rose, but also when she's been dominant, and then really look at Tecia's last couple of fights. Tecia has fought like that, you know, well-rounded mixed martial artist of, you know, 2012, 2013, where you put the whole thing together, you win every little battle, you win every little position, you know what the right and the wrong is. We're watching in real time as the old evolution of how MMA evolved happens again, but in things that took 5 years only takes 6 months to change. Joanna was Chuck Liddell, Ronda was Royce Gracie. Joanna was Chuck Liddell. Rose is, you know, the well-rounded sort of maybe Carlos Condit type, sort of a multi-specialist. Yeah. Yeah, got kind of an Anderson playfulness outside and a willingness to grapple, a high-level grappler game. Tecia Torres has that sort of well-rounded pre-alpha male. You know, alpha male has kind of modeled that concept after George St. Pierre, built it around the ability to choose when and where it goes. That last fight of hers, she looked phenomenal in every area.
Actually, the most recent fight was Jessica Andrade, where she lost.
Oh, yes. The one in Detroit. Watterson, yeah. She looked good against Andrade still. Yeah. But yes, the Watterson fight, oh God, she looked real good. She looked real good. And played the game of, if you're comfortable somewhere, I will put you in the other area or another area. Striking okay? Take it with the space, take you to the ground, beat you up. You're comfortable against the fence? I'll back out and strike. Oh, you're heavy to try to get your hands on me? I'll kick your leg. Oh, you're light to try to get your legs up? I'll close the distance. She had all of the answers. So it was a smart, it was a tough, rugged, complex question and answer type of fighter, but also very smart and very tactical. But Andrade, they're also similar physicality. We'll talk more about Andrade about Joanna in the next one. We've talked about her a lot. Maybe the last thought on this one, we will dig deeper into it when we come back and do a deeper analysis of these. But Joanna, it is so easy. This is our human nature to react quite heavily to whatever the most recent development is. You loved, you're 47 years old, say, and you love Tom Cruise, but lately his movies have sucked. Now Tom Cruise sucks. You know, your favorite football team in the 90s, now you hate them because their coach is a jerk. Like, these things, we react that way. That's human. We're not doing anything wrong. We're wired to do that. So it would be very easy to think, Joanna, she's not there anymore, or like any one number of ways you could look at it. This is a fucking beast. This is a beast. Something to prove. With a mindset of victory and chasing something. And she knows that her best days are not behind her, and she knows the work required to make that true. So we got a cool one. We'll go deeper into it next time.